cottage industries were supposed to be established near these cassava farms so that cassava flowers can be produced. Unfortunately, when these farms were established and the cassava were ready to be harvested, no cottage industry. As at this moment, there is no cottage industry in place. We should have employed our youths. Sir, can we still continue with this program, or is everything ending there? Now the second question, sir. Your Excellency, sir, the Governor of Ogun State, you are highly commended, sir. 100% education, security, and infrastructures. You have actually done very well, sir. You are highly commended. But on the issue of agriculture, sir, please, we shall be very grateful, sir, if we can relax these issues of land acquisition, because we have been trying to acquire some lands for the past 3 years, sir. Up till now, we have not succeeded. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for your question. If you remember, when we came into the ministry in November last year, I made a statement that there will be no policy somersaults. And we have stayed very much in line with the policies put in place by our predecessor. We did that for two reasons. Once you begin to change policies, then investors become uncertain. They're not sure what will happen next. If they invest now and you come in and cancel, then of course, they have lost their investment or wasted their time. Let me say this, the cassava program really didn't begin 4 years ago with the former minister. The cassava program began many years back when I used to be chairman of a party whose name I can't remember now. And when Baba Obasanjo was president, we started off and we built one factory. It was in Benue. The problem we faced with the millers then was that they had to do a lot of tests with the quality of flour coming out. People were drying cassava by the roadside, grinding into powder. Definitely no bread maker can utilize that kind of thing because of the health issues. Now more flash dryers are being installed and they're not cheap equipment. So there was some resistance from the millers because of certain considerations. Number two, also because wheat importation was on a large scale. And three, there was no legislation to the effect. That law is now before the assembly and we're pushing for its passage. That 15% cassava in bread or 20% doesn't do the bread any harm. But many of the bakers, the master bakers and so on, have been insisting on certain improvements which they are carrying on with our support. The legislation will be here because even Brazil, which is the largest producer of wheat in the world, includes cassava in bread. But over and above cassava, we're now talking of industrial starch and ethanol. So if you do grow cassava, you can sell it. We had staple crops processing zones in 6 zones of the country. One was in Kogi State, and a big investor there was a company from the US called Cargill. Suddenly in January this year, they wrote to say they were withdrawing because business was not too good. We have almost got a substitute now because this is a private sector driven program where government will not interfere too much. Sometimes government is a very bad partner in business. Sometimes, most times. So we prefer to allow the private sector to operate so we don't meddle too much, because the demands of the private sector are more urgent and things move faster. You have a factory belonging to government and a belt costs, a belt, turning an electric motor. It could take you 2 weeks, 1 month, before the director approves minutes to the PAMSEC to the minister back to the PAMSEC down. In between there's a holiday and somebody has traveled. And that is real. So this is the reason for the delays. But I assure you the cassava program will carry on. We are talking with the private sector, and we will achieve some results. But the cassava industry is a huge one. If you've suffered a bit now, don't run away. We have to keep retuning. There is money there. There's money there. And again, I want to thank the investors who have remained and are still struggling through our difficult times. I assure you, when the situation improves, we shall not forget you. I assure you. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Excellency, the Governor of Ogun State. Sir, I want to ask a question on irrigation. As a young farmer, how can the government help us, the federal government and the state government help us in irrigation system? I'm a young farmer at Ilewo Orile settlement of Ogun State. But we discovered that there is a dam there wasting away. And we try as farmer to do our own irrigation, to dig a well. But we discovered that the water level is very low down. And to dig, you have to get up to 40 rings, 45 rings, which is very expensive for a young farmer. And the water is not even enough, because you talk about ewedu, ugu, and pawpaw. So how can the government help us as young farmer? My second question is in the area of imports. So as young farmer, local farmers, so how can the government help us as a youth, you know, in exporting our crops from the farm, you know, for exports? And my third question is, sorry, sir.
All right. Okay, young lady, you heard me talk about irrigation. We from Abuja will be coming to the state to discuss with the Ministry of Agric for some earth dams. And with our budget, we have it in this year's budget. Thank God our quarrel with the National Assembly is over. And so we will do some earth dams. And we will also find a way of reticulating. But we're also bringing in solar pumps. We've seen a design, they showed it to me a few days ago, which you can fold and take home and come back in the morning, unfold and take your water from the dam into your farm. Then you spare yourself the trouble of petrol and kerosene and diesel. If you manage your cells, your solar panels well, and we are buying some of the best, they are not cheap, but at least you know this is an asset that will last you 10, 15 years. So that's for irrigation. If where you are is near a dam, we'll soon be back on tours of the states. And we may be spending 2 or 3 days in Ogun, and we're going to drive around in hillocks and so on to make sure we visit dam sites, talk to young farmers, organize you in groups, and see where we can help. But there will be a partnership and synergy between the state government and the federal government in trying to achieve these objectives. You need irrigation. And the young man from Ogun who came to see me actually wants to engage more of you. So when I'm coming, I'll bring him along, and we shall have a session somewhere here and discuss the youth and agriculture. We need to go into those problems. There was another question you asked. Can't remember now.
On export, how you can assist the young farmers in export.
This same young man from Ogun State here is an exporter, and he says his dream is to get more young people to grow the crops and package them to exportable standards. One of the problems with Nigerian exports is that we don't meet international standards. We don't meet international standards. Recently, we exported beans in 4 containers. They were returned. When the beans got to the ports in England, they opened a few bags. They found in some of them rat feces. And in some other commodities earlier, they found dead rats. Now, obviously, Europeans do have certain standards. One of you mentioned that earlier. We just have to meet international standards if we want to play on the international stage. They will not lower their rules just to make us happy. Number two, those eating most of these products abroad are also Nigerians. So if you poison them and they begin to die, it's not good enough. So standardization is an issue, and on that, let me say this. We will not, as soon as we can, not continue to package grains in polypropylene bags. We are going to go back to jute bags. Jute is carbon-free, and that is the international packaging for grains now. The polypropylene bags create problems for us. They are airtight, and one of the problems with aflatoxin, which is spreading all over in grains, maize and groundnut especially, is that you buy your grains, the biggest grain traders in Nigeria are in Kano. And some of these men have plenty of cash. End of October, before the grains have dried properly, they mopped up in all the markets, sewn the things and put in their warehouses. And they lock the doors. February, March, April, temperatures rise to 50 degrees. The grains are not dry. They begin to sweat. And then they gather mold. And the mold produces aflatoxin. It attacks the soft tissues in the body, lungs and liver. So we are going back to Kenaf. There was a jute bag factory in Badagry in the days of Chief Awolowo. There was one in Jos. They are gone because there was no market for them. We're now inviting investors to come back, farmers to grow Kenaf, and for us to produce at least 10 million bags of Kenaf and jute bags annually. If there are any investors here interested in that, make contact with us. It's a big market. And Nigerian farmers know how to grow Kenaf. Kenaf is K-E-N-A-F. We have to go back to Kenaf, and we're going to ban polypropylene bags because it's not good for our health. And on that, please, when you go to a party in this country and you see moi moi wrapped in cellophane bags, don't eat it. You are eating dioxin. You are inviting cancer. Do you hear me? Eat the one in the leaves. That leaf is an antioxidant. Better for you. At that temperature, dioxin is being pumped into the beans you're eating. Even pure water. Don't keep them in the sun, because from 30 degrees up, what you're drinking is not the water you think. There's a lot of self-poisoning going on in Nigeria now, which is why there are so many people lying in hospital asking to be sent to India. These are diseases our parents didn't know. Yes, please. Any other question?
Thank you very much, sir. We will invite His Excellency, the Governor of Ogun State, to show appreciation to the Honorable Minister for Agriculture. Rest assured that your questions that we've received will get to the Honorable Minister in due course.
I have the honor, the sense of duty to, as always, appreciate our leader, elder statesman in his own right, somebody that have served Nigeria selflessly and still serving, Shiva Duogbe, in appreciation of your participation at Ogun State Investors Forum 2016. And your distinguished role as a speaker. You did not just speak to us. You educate us as always. In fact, it's very inspiring. And I know that we really cannot, any day, anytime, you always do justice to not just agriculture, indeed to any topic that is given to you. So thank you. We are happy. We know what to... In fact, the trouble you took in even getting here, thank you. He was in Katsina yesterday and he has to make sure that he's still with us today. So we really, really appreciate you. So on behalf of the government and good people of Ogun State, this is for you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Two remarkable gentlemen, the Executive Governor of Ogun State and the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. Knowledgeable man, remarkable farmer.